My aunt tried to announce her daughter's pregnancy at my baby shower for my rainbow baby, by user Rainbow Baby 2022. I had posted this originally on Am I the Asshole and have been told that this would fit perfectly here, since my aunt is the entitled parent. My husband and I are finally expecting our rainbow baby after years of infertility and multiple miscarriages. It's safe to say we and our family are very freaking excited. My mother is probably the most excited. She's been planning our baby shower and making decorations for months. She's been the biggest help during this exciting, yet scary pregnancy. A few weeks ago, my aunt told my mother and I that my cousin is pregnant. We are very happy for her. However, my aunt said their plan is to announce her pregnancy at my baby shower, since we are having a big party anyways. She said it's not a big deal and we both can share the day. I said absolutely not, because we have been waiting for this day forever, and it should be all about me and my rainbow baby. My mother is on my side and told my aunt that they better not announce anything at the party. My aunt dropped it, and nothing else was ever said. Last Saturday was my baby shower. It was everything I've waited for. Everything is going good, no one has announced my cousin's pregnancy. When it was time for us to eat my cake, my aunt said, hold on everyone, and went outside to her car to grab something. That was the moment I knew something was up. My mother and I follow her outside, and my aunt decided to bring a cake announcing my cousin's pregnancy, and some presents for my cousin. My mother immediately told my aunt that she will not be bringing those back into the rec center, and they will not be ruining my day. My aunt started throwing a fit, screaming, this is a baby shower, it's for babies. Cousin is having a baby too, so this day is about her too. My cousin now joins the screaming and says how pissed off she is that everything is always about me and why do we always have to be happy for me. They would not stop screaming, so they were kicked out by the rec center's security, and half our family was upset that I wouldn't let her have a moment at my shower, so they left too. Now everyone is bashing my mother, myself, and Rainbow Baby on Facebook, group family texts, anything at all. Edit, for those asking, a rainbow baby is a baby born after a miscarriage or stillborn. It's a term used to describe the joy/hope after the storm of losing a baby. An entitled father tried to get me kicked out of the store for having big breasts, by user BrokenDreamer 1997. So, the only reason why the entitled parent in this story didn't go to prison was because I was 18 at the time, but the fact that this happened the way it did still pisses me off. So, when I turned 18, I started working at a call center and often walked around the city a lot in order to avoid my toxic mother. Yes, I know what you're thinking, but I was safe and always had a form of self-defense. I was young but not stupid. Anyways, that year, I experienced another growth spurt and went from a C cup to a DD cup, and I was getting a lot of weird looks when in public. As much as I hate to say it, I was pretty young and naive, so I never thought it was because of the way my body changed, but I preferred to keep my distance from people. One day, I decided that I was going to go to Walmart so that I could pick out some yarn for a crochet project I wanted to work on while at work. We were allowed to crochet as long as we didn't avoid the calls that were automatically answered on our systems. While I was checking out the yarn, I noticed a kid, who looked like he was 13-14, standing at the end of the aisle watching me. Thanks to my history of getting bullied and beaten up, I immediately grew cautious and started debating if I wanted to get my yarn here or go to the Hobby Lobby across the parking lot. Before I could make a decision, an adult man came up and started leading the son off, so I started to relax and think that I was overreacting. That is until the Ed came back. Ed, excuse me, but where did you get you implants? They look so real. Me, excuse me? I was really embarrassed and shocked, and I was already getting creeper vibes from this guy. Ed, your implants? He waves his hands in front of my breasts and gets uncomfortably close to me. Where did you get them? Me, I was at a loss for words and didn't know if he was serious or just being a creep overall. At this moment, the kid came up and poked at my right breast, and I instinctively smacked his hand away, not caring that he was a kid. Me, excuse me, but you really shouldn't do that, especially to a woman. It's not polite, and it's considered SA and SH. Ed immediately got mad at me and started screaming at me to not touch his son. He said that it was my fault and that, if I didn't want attention like this, then I should keep my fun bags put away. I was in tears and looking around for an escape, especially since, the more the Ed yelled at me, the closer he got to me. He started telling me that there was no way my breasts were real and that he needed to feel them to know for sure. He even told me that I needed to let the ES touch them so he could learn the difference between implants and real breasts. Remembering the fact that I had my pepper spray in my bag for any occasion where I needed to defend myself, I usually had a knife, too, but that seemed a bit extreme in the heat of the moment. I pulled the can of pepper spray and told them both to step back and get away from me. At this point, an employee turned the corner, having heard us yelling, and saw me holding the pepper spray. He freaked out and called for a manager before coming up and yelling at me, demanding to know what I was doing. Thanks to me being in tears, the Ed was able to butt in and started lying to the employee that I was seducing his son and pulled my pepper spray out when the Ed had tried to come to his son's rescue. The ES immediately started agreeing with the Ed, and the employee was already saying that he was going to call the police while the Ed demanded that me and my big breasts get kicked out of the store. Thankfully, at that second, one of my co-workers, a big, burly guy who often gave me a ride at night after hearing that I took the taxi home at night because my mother refused to teach me to drive, rounded the corner, leading a manager right to the mess. The manager demanded that everyone shut up and calm down, and, when we had, he turned to me and asked my side of the story. I told them how the Ed insisted that I needed to let them feel my breasts to see if they were real and how I had already explained I wasn't comfortable and didn't want their attention. The Ed backtracked on his story and tried to defend himself and EK, saying it was all for educational purposes and lied that I had agreed beforehand. This is when my coworker got mad and pointed at the camera at the end of the aisle, reminding them that it would have caught everything. The Ed and EK both went silent for a moment before making a break for the exit. The manager took off after them, yelling at them to stop, and my coworker berated the employee for threatening me the way he did. Of course, the Ed and EK got away, but the employee was fired, and I never went back to that store by myself per my friend's request. Please, teach your sons to respect women, and don't harass women. Plenty of us are insecure of our bodies and don't want the attention our bodies attract, and we appreciate it if you don't make things worse for us. Also, never assume that a woman's body is fake or that you are entitled to touch it. 2 parents left their infant toddler to go on amusement ride, by user DefToyorbs. I went to Six Flags over this past weekend to celebrate a friend's birthday and all was well until we were in line for this one ride. The line wasn't too bad and it was about a 30 to 40 minute wait. As we were waiting in line, I noticed these 2 parents with their toddler in a stroller just ahead of my group and I thought to myself, how are they going to watch the kid and go on the ride? I naturally assumed that each parent would take a turn on the ride and one would stay behind to watch their kid because that's the logical solution. Nope. When it was time for them to go for the ride, we watched these idiots roll their stroller with the poor kid in tow into the fast lane and they both freaking turn around and head towards their seats on the ride. The poor kid immediately starts crying and sobbing for their mommy. Even the poor worker in the fast lane, who was definitely not getting paid enough to handle this bullsh*t, just froze in shock. I hope he added babysitter to his resume because that's what the idiots clearly thought that was on his name tag. When I tell you everybody in line was just in shock like jaws were dropped and mean glares were thrown. To the woman who was working the microphone and managing the ride, "You're our everybody's hero." She immediately grabbed the mic and said, "Absolutely not, your child needs a supervisor at all times." Finally the parents read the room and shamefully got out of their seats to mend to their child and conversed on the way over. It was clear that they agreed the mother should go first and off she went. The camaraderie I felt in that line that day was top tier because everyone was glaring at the father as he was waiting for his partner to finish the ride. By the time it was the father's turn, it was clear that he got second-hand embarrassment from the public shaming because by the time he took his seat his head was lowered. This was when my group's turn to take the ride as well and it was awesome. The parents could not have gotten out of that ride any faster by the time we finished. May this be a PSA, if you're a parent and your child is too young to go on any of the rides, please for the love of God, just hire a nanny for the day or even better, leave your kids at home with a trusted babysitter. The workers at theme parks are not your freaking babysitters and that is not within their job description. It's embarrassing that even has to be explained. Mum secretly seeing my child, by user Imru12. My mum and I had a fallout on Boxing Day and have been no contact since. She was looking after my 2-year-old boy 2 days a week, however following our disagreement she hasn't had him, which means I've taken him to work with me. When things come up at work, my sister offers to have him, which is great. I have just found out that during these times my mum goes round and is the primary caregiver to him, which both her and my sister know is against my wishes. I feel really betrayed by both of them. Am I being overly emotional about it? So, my father hasn't spoken to me in over a year, after disowning me and finally broke the ice today by commenting "Yak suck, dumb girl, just like your mom and shitty uncool boy" on my Facebook, by user bootysnacks.com. So, My father disowned me a long while back because of me dating a white guy. Honestly, I thought he'd never talk to me again. I was fine with that. Anyone who threatens to kill my boyfriend, I'd rather not have much to do with. Today, he decides to break the silence, found my Facebook, I didn't even know that he knows how to use Facebook, probably his wife helping him, and commented word for word. Yak suck dumb girl, I imagine he meant you suck dumb girl. Just like your mom and shitty uncool boy. Really, father? That's the words you want to break the ice with? Also, I saw he tried to call me on Messenger 2 times. After over an entire year of not talking to your daughter, this is how he breaks the ice? Seriously. After a year, he is unsurprisingly still hateful and bitter. Also, kind of important plot point. This is all over my boyfriend being white. My own mother is white. My father, being Caribbean, is not pure black. The whole reason my father hates me is because I'm dating a white guy. Talk about brain dead lol.